An Israeli soldier has been killed during a raid on the Gaza Strip. 3 other soldiers were injured. An army spokesperson says the Israeli troops were conducting raids that were meant to gather intelligence about missing persons and captives being held by Hamas in the territory. The U.S. has vowed a continued flow of aid to the Gaza Strip as a further 15 aid trucks carrying food, water and medicine have entered the besieged Palestinian enclave. Early on Sunday, delivery of aid at the Rafah crossing between Egypt and the Gaza Strip was halted after shelling nearby. It happened shortly after the second aid convoy had crossed into Gaza from the Egyptian side. Israel has apologized for the strike but has stepped up its bombardment in the north of Gaza and is warning thousands of Palestinians to move to the south of the enclave for their own safety. For more on the conflict in the Middle East, we now join Arise chief correspondent John Cookson in Tel Aviv, Israel. Good morning, John, and welcome to the morning show.
Good morning. Great to be on the morning show.
All right, thank you. Well, a few updates over the weekend I'd like you to just share with us in terms of aid. It's good news to see that there's now aid going into Gaza Strip, despite some challenges and roadblocks here and there, but at least some form of relief. But what is the extent of this relief, John?
Yes, it's fantastic, isn't it? A limited amount of trucks, including fuel tankers getting through over the weekend, which we carried live at times here on Arise News. These trucks with vitally needed supplies, medicines, food, water, and oil trucks. Oil trucks desperately needed because the hospitals are running out of fuel for their generators, and oil, of course, is needed for other purposes in Gaza. So that's great news. And there's some suggestion today that 40 more trucks will cross through from Egypt into Gaza. And it's only a suggestion, and nothing is certain in this part of the world, but that looks like it's going to happen. So this is all happening because it seems that these vital supplies are not getting into the hands of Hamas. Israel always said if that did happen, then this flow of vitally needed aid would stop. The other development over the weekend, which seems to be calming down, is that the Israelis accidentally fired a tank round at an Egyptian military post at the crossing at Karat Sharon, which is another crossing which is not open. A number of Egyptian soldiers were injured, about 9 in total, but this kind of stupid accident could so easily, escalate into something more serious. The Egyptians seem to be playing it down, and they could have fired back, and, the whole thing could have erupted into something very serious indeed. And it could have stopped the flow of vital supplies through the Rafah crossing. But for now, people are holding their breath. Everything seems to be calming down. But it's this kind of incident that no one can predict, and was probably, I'm sure it was an accident, could just blow the whole thing out of the water. So fingers crossed this aid will continue to flow from Egypt into Gaza.
All right, John, good to see you again, and happy to see that you're well in the midst of all the things going on in Tel Aviv. So just help us understand the amount of collateral damage. Hospital, scary. Some people have reported that hospital in Al-Qud Hospital was nearly hit, just about 100 meters away when some rockets were fired. A large number of people are said to have been killed, and these are not Hamas members. Israel is claiming that by the time they're done, there will be no more Hamas member in existence in Gaza. And that means that thousands and thousands of people will be lost as a result of their strike. So help us understand what that means in literal terms. But also, I would need you to please comment on the statement by the president of Israel, Mr. Herzog, who said that they found a Hamas member who has chemical weapons manual, and there is concern that they might be building some kind of weapon that is chemical based on cyanide. Maybe you've heard about that. You can help us clarify that.
Number one, let's not talk about collateral damage, shall we? These are human beings. These are men, women, children, mothers, fathers, brothers, sons, daughters. They're people. And I'm just getting figures in from the health ministry in Gaza this morning that 400 more Palestinians have been killed overnight. Now, even if those figures are even half that, what a terrible, terrible loss of life. These are innocent civilians, and so far at least 4,000 Palestinians have been killed in Gaza, and that figure could be, frankly, double that because they haven't dug everybody out from under the rubble yet. So it is a human tragedy, and I think it is impacting. I think there was a change over the weekend that Western leaders are pressuring Israel at the moment to try to come up with some plan to get Palestinians out, maybe through the Rafah crossing, although Egypt has always insisted that they won't be allowed through, but maybe a safe zone in Gaza. Now, the Israelis came up with the idea of everyone moving down to the south, but clearly the south is being bombed. So I think Western leaders will continue to pressure Netanyahu. Mr. Rutte, the Dutch Prime Minister, is already here in Israel. President Macron arrives tomorrow, I think with the same message. All this means that this predicted ground invasion could well be delayed for a number of days, even weeks, as the humanitarian issue suddenly moves very, very much to the front of everyone's minds, pressured by Western leaders. Although I have to say, here in Israel, there is a groundswell of opinion to saying that the Israeli forces should move in sooner than later, but this is a decision for Mr. Netanyahu. As for President Herzog, yes, apparently one of the Hamas militants was captured. One of them involved in the October the 7th burst out from Gaza, where they massacred 1,400 people. And on him was apparently some documents that he had a way of producing chemical weapons, which could, of course, inflict serious damage.
Okay, John, real quickly, how is Rafah as we speak? Any updates? Have things been set up for the crossing yet?
It's not open at the moment. The Rafah area wasn't bombed overnight, as far as we know. So, as I said earlier, those gates are expected to open again today to allow 40 more trucks in. Now, if they're talking about that, and indeed they are, that tells me that the Rafah area is safe at the moment.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, John. Look forward to hearing more from you in terms of updates from Israel and Hamas. And as we often say, and as we always say, please keep safe out there. Thanks. All right. Finally, on the news headline today, Arise News has won the 12th Africa Icons and Stewardship Award 2023 as the best television news station of the year. The award was presented by Women in Media. And we have the award here with us in the studio. I think it's just a season of awards and winning, and very grateful.
Touch it.
Yes.
I have to read what's on it because I think it's very significant as to the testament of the commitment to gender equity, investing in women here at Arise. It says, Women in Media present 12th Africa Icons and Stewardship Award, Arise TV Best Television News Station of the Year. So we're honored by Women in Media, and I think it's clear to see that Arise champions the cause of women. You see women thriving and giving a platform and a voice to truly excel. When you talk about, women just being at the forefront of breaking news, definitely Arise News Station is that. And beyond that, I think it's beyond for women. It's just that it's being honored by Women in Media. It's the fact that again and again, a number of organizations, groups and bodies have just recognized the great work that Arise News has done in the last few months, years. It's work that has culminated over time, 10 years anniversary this year. So maybe this is a great way to celebrate our 10 years anniversary. And of course, as always, this award is dedicated to all the people that you see and the people that you don't see, working tirelessly behind the scene.
Yes. The reward for hard work, they say is more work. So that means that we have to do a lot more as an organization. We have to make sure that there's a lot more going into the reportage and making sure that what people say, I mean, I read what people say online and offline and talk to people, and what people often say is that Arise is that one place where they know they will hear a diverse perspective on all the issues, and it is not based on anybody's special bias or intention to be malicious in any way. It's just a case of there's got to be a diverse perspective, a broad perspective representing everything that is Nigeria today, and also looking at it from the international perspective. If we're talking about any issue, we're not just talking locally, because almost practically everybody here, sitting down here today, even when Ruben comes, you will see that every one of us are well-traveled, and we've seen what happens outside Nigeria, and we want Nigeria to be the best in the world. So that's why we do the conversation that we do here. So congratulations, Prince Nduka Obaigbena, for your vision that is turning into this, and congratulations to everybody, especially the guys in the background who make this happen.
All right, Ufa, did you want to say anything else before we go?
I'm just going to say we're deeply, deeply humbled and deeply appreciative, and we will not let you down.